If you've been working on your scales and arpeggios, but you still don't see much improvement in your speed, don't worry, you're absolutely not alone. When I was younger, I always thought that if I just practice slightly faster every single day, if I just gradually increase the speed of my metronome, I will be able to play really fast eventually. But then the reality was that every single time I saw a new scale or tried to learn a new piece, it felt like I'm starting from scratch. Until I started practicing the way I'm about to show you today. In the next few minutes, I'm going to show you 4 exercises that will improve your picking speed fundamentally, and exercises that you can change and scale up to support your learning journey for many years to come. The first exercise is going to be very simple. So we're going to do a little note repetition with alternate picking, and the idea here is to play a group of notes really fast, followed by a couple of longer or slower notes. And the idea is to give everything you have to the fast notes, to play them really fast and really accurately and with really good hand or picking control, and then have a couple of notes on which you can relax your hand, reset your technique, and to get prepared for the next sequence of fast notes. And you want to practice this with every different finger combination. So I am, M, A, and finally I, A. And you will find that probably your I am fingering is a lot better than, for example, the MA, and that's why you need to work on each of the finger combinations to create a more balanced right hand technique. By the way, this exercise is from my favorite 11 exercises booklet. This is something I published a while ago, but we can talk about this a bit more later, maybe. Now, if this exercise is too easy for you, or if it's not very stimulating, don't worry, you can change and adapt this exercise as you want to. You can change the balance of the notes. You can play more fast notes or longer fast sequences, or shorter long sequences, okay? Or you can simply just play one long note after every 16 fast notes. You can play with the balance. Up next, I wanted to talk about the scales, because a lot of people think they have to play lots of scales in order to improve their picking speed, but that's only part of the truth. There are lots of different methods to approach scale picking or scale playing, and one of them, which I believe is one of the most effective ways to improve your picking speed, is by practicing dotted notes or dotted rhythms. So the next exercise is going to be a simple C major scale in the 5th position. That's it. But we're going to use dotted rhythms. So long short rhythms and short long rhythms. Now, why is this exercise so powerful? First of all, it is fundamentally similar to the previous exercise. That's why I recommended you to watch the exercises in order. So we have 2 notes together, grouped together, and played really fast. So you have to try to play them as fast as you can, but then you will have a longer note where you can relax your hand, where you can release the tension of your muscles. What happens here is that basically you're working on your picking speed, your alternate picking speed, in a very isolated environment, right? Because every time you play really fast, you pause for a second, and that second, that tiny little moment of relaxation will allow you not only to relax your hand, not only to reset your technique, not only to get prepared for the next fast sequence, but also to evaluate what just happened, to think about if you need to change your tone, if you need to fix something technically. Having these moments of pauses will give you a chance to practice in a much smarter way. Now, building upon this, we have the next exercise, which is going to be speed burst scales exercise. And this is another stepping stone towards picking really fast or playing really fast. What we're going to do is that instead of attempting to play this whole scale as fast as we can, we break it down into smaller problems or smaller chunks. So let's say I'm gonna play 4, 5, or 6 notes in a group as fast as I can, but then I will take a moment to relax my hand, to reset my technique, to reset my mind, before I go and play the next group of notes really fast again. Does this make sense to you? Oops. A lot of the times when I noticed that I played the wrong string, or like, you know, I touched another string, or my picking was just not very accurate, it was because I had a lot of extra tension unreleased in my hand before I went into the new group of notes. So what I tried to play with or play around with is the length of the long note. The longer it was, the more I could relax my hand, and the more relaxed I was when I started the next group of notes. Oops. I think you can even see on my hand that after I finish a group of notes, a group of fast notes, it kind of like, you can see a little change in how I hold my hand. That's when I relax it. Oops. What's important regarding this exercise is that you have to alter odd numbered groups and even numbered groups. So sometimes play a group of 3 notes or 6 notes, 7 notes, 4 notes, doesn't really matter. What's important is to change between even and odd numbers, because that will mean that you will always land on different fingers and you will have to do string changing a little bit differently. What's really awesome about this little exercise is that you can scale up for a very long time. So even though you can play just 3 or 4 notes together now, over time you may be able to extend it to be able to play the whole run of the scale back and forth under just one speed burst. Over time, for example, you can try to relax only on the last note of the scale. And so on and so on. And the last exercise I want to show you today is going to be a rasgueado exercise. But don't worry, even if you're not playing flamenco, if you have no intention to play any piece of music involving rasgueado technique, this is still going to be very useful for you. I don't play flamenco and I don't play any music with rasgueado technique, but I still love this exercise so much because it gives my hand such a well-balanced training. So here's the thing, if we want to train the right hand evenly, it's not enough to use just these fingers, because as long as we're not involving the pinky in any of the processes, we're just simply not training this part of the hand. And we have a couple of muscles there too as well, because every single finger has, I think, at least two muscles attached to it, but there are muscles on both sides of the fingers, and depending on what you do, if you extend or like pull the fingers in, you're going to use different fingers. But the thing is, these little muscles are going to be responsible for the fine movements of your hand, and if you never train these muscles, you're not going to be able to create that smooth, even movement. And I think most people have different solutions for this problem. I know some people involve the pinky in tremolo exercises, and I used to do that, and let me tell you, I suck at that. But I know that the flamenco tremolo technique also involves the pinky, and there are lots of techniques that involves the pinky. But the way I find that it works best for me is to try some rasgueado exercises where I can involve the pinky, and by that I can strengthen this part of my hand. I'm going to show it first, and then we're going to talk about this. So what's going on here? I flick with each of the fingers as strongly as I can. Just really, I'm using all my power, all the power I have in that finger. I have a very simple right hand shape, as you can see, and I try not to move the base knuckles. I try not to move this part of my hand. I'm just gonna flick the strings one by one, and after each flick, I'm gonna relax that muscle, or I'm gonna relax that finger as much as I can. So flick, relax, flick, relax, and then thumb and back. And throughout the whole exercise, I'm planting my thumb on the 6th string, except for when I go down and then I come back. I prepare the fingers close to my palm. I also prefer to mute the strings because this exercise sounds really annoying, but you can just put on some fun chords and enjoy that. And then I also like to increase the speed gradually, just little by little, because that's how I feel like I'm stretching my strength and my limits. So I just start reducing the time I use for relaxation, and eventually I only relax after the thumb thing, so between sequences. Once again, this is just one example, and you can use any kind of rasgueado technique or rasgueado pattern as long as it involves all the fingers. This rasgueado exercise was from the exercise booklet I published a while ago, including my favorite 11 exercises. You will find the link to it in the description down below, but you can also watch all the exercises for free on YouTube on my channel. I'm going to link it down below too. Now there's one stretching exercise in this booklet which is quite a stretch. I'm sorry, so it's quite difficult for most people, but other than that, every single exercise is very accessible for advanced beginner players. So if you're looking for some new exercises to try, I highly recommend this booklet. Alright, I hope you liked these exercises, and if you did, be sure to let me know in the comments. And I would also love to hear what technical challenges you have and what topics and techniques you would like to see on this channel more, what video topics you would be interested in. Because, I've been making YouTube videos and educational content for years now. And the greatest source of inspiration and the best feedback is always you and your comments. So yeah, help me out here. Let's have a chat in the comments. And if you'd like to see more videos from me in the future, please consider supporting my work on Patreon, because that's essentially how I fund this channel. Yeah, Patreon supporters help me a lot. Head over to my Patreon page. I have sheet music and educational materials and all sorts of stuff over there, so have a look and see if it's something you like. Alright, that's it. Bye.